Climate change is the big issue of our time. It will have a major effect on the way we live and on the way our children live. We are all, governments, professionals, industries and individuals, looking for ways to help. And this is just what wood can offer. This will be the century of the low-carbon revolution, affecting everything we make and do over the decades to come. Wood will be at the heart of that revolution, a naturally renewable material that as it grows reduces carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and provides low-carbon solutions for construction and for energy generation. Globally, deforestation is part of the problem, accounting for 17% of carbon dioxide emissions, mainly from tropical rainforests. Yet in Europe, where over 90% of all the wood we use comes from, it's part of the solution. How can cutting down trees help reduce carbon dioxide emissions? On average, trees absorb a ton of carbon dioxide for every cubic meter's growth, while producing 3/4 of a ton of oxygen. As they mature, their growth slows and they absorb less carbon dioxide. When the tree is harvested, the majority of its carbon remains stored in the wood product derived from it. And we plant more vigorous young trees, so the European forest carbon sink continues to grow. That's why the carbon stored in the wood product is considered a net gain, and why using wood actually reduces the carbon footprint of a building. Using wood from sustainably managed forests reduces carbon dioxide emissions in 3 different ways. It supports the sustainable forest management that ensures our forests and their carbon sink continue to grow. It provides low-carbon building materials to be used instead of energy-intensive alternatives, and a renewable source of carbon-neutral energy. The UK government is putting tough measures in place to reduce carbon emissions from buildings, tightening the thermal performance requirements in the building regulations in a series of steps towards the zero-carbon home in 2016. The Code for Sustainable Homes will be followed in 2018 by codes for schools, public sector buildings and potentially all new buildings over the next decade. The more demanding the thermal performance, the less it costs to achieve in wood, because softwood is a much better insulator than any other mainstream building material. Its thermal conductivity is some 6 times lower than brickwork or heavyweight concrete block, almost 400 times lower than steel, and over 1,000 times lower than aluminium. And certified wood products can also help achieve higher rating levels in the Code for Sustainable Homes. Wood makes a real contribution to reducing a building's carbon footprint, not just in the energy used to heat the building over its life, but also in the energy embodied in the fabric of the building. Right now, a building's embodied energy represents around 20% of its total lifetime energy use. But changes in the building regulations to increase thermal efficiency could see it rise to as much as 60%. So the energy embodied in the materials we make our buildings from will become more and more important. And wood has by far the lowest embodied energy of any mainstream building material. Substituting a cubic metre of wood for other construction materials such as concrete blocks or bricks will save almost a ton of carbon dioxide from being released into the atmosphere, with a big effect on the carbon footprint of a building. Just by changing to timber frame can save 3 tons of carbon dioxide from the 20-ton footprint of a typical 3-bedroom detached house. But still bigger cuts can be made by substituting timber wherever possible, including softwood cladding, flooring and windows. That 20-ton footprint can be reduced to as little as 2.4 tons. This school uses solid timber as its primary structure and has a negative materials footprint of minus 40.9 tons of carbon dioxide because of the solid timber. In other words, the building is storing almost 41 tons more carbon dioxide than it took to build. These are emissions that are within the control of the designer, and a software tool is available, a carbon calculator, to show the carbon effect of choosing different materials at a glance. Isn't it extraordinary what wood can do? Using more wood is a simple way of helping to build the low carbon economy that is vital to the fight against climate change. Wood really does cost less.